basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman Podcast. NBA.
Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay podcast on CLNS Media is brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks. Bob Ryan coming to us from God's country. Yes, they're going to change the name to Smith Lake up there in good old Weld, Maine. And, Bob, I hope the black flies aren't winning and the mosquitoes aren't winning. I'll just leave it.
No, I've never been. No, so far so good.
So far so good. Okay, let's get to it now. Jayson Tatum, article with him in The Athletic. But overall, I want to get your viewpoint. Like, you know players. You've covered these guys a long time. What do you think his mindset is? How is he mentally?
I think he's fine. I think he's come to grips with the idea that just the whole package of what he is doing in Boston with this particular group and that he is scrutinized and he's come to grips with it. I think he might wish that he could proceed a little less fanfare, but he knows he just can't do that. He's too good. He's not stupid. He knows he's good, and he knew that people placed expectations on him and his group, and we all know that the journey was rocky. We know that before they get to hoist that banner coming up on October 22nd or whatever it is, that they had a very tortuous journey with some teasing and near misses and self-examination that resulted with the way they did not perform against the Warriors, the way they did not perform against the Heat, etc. But they answered. They know they've answered all the questions, and now. But the thing is, there's two distinct groups though. He and Brown have been there. They're the anchors. They're the core. They've been there from day one. And then they got a second addition was Derek White. And then with two new important additions last year, put them over the top. They were a different team, 23-24 than they were 22-23.
Absolutely.
Kristaps Porzingis and with Drew Holiday. And I'm rambling a little bit here, but I'm trying to say he is at peace. I think it would have been perfect if the Olympics hadn't intruded. And the Olympics threw a little, not roadblock, but I mean, a monkey wrench thing, as they say. All of a sudden, he's this object of discussion in a less than positive way. And at a time when everything had been, but was pointing completely upward. I mean, just think about how idyllic it was when they won, and the manner in which they won with a convincing home victory that sent the crowd home smiling, and answered all the questions. And then this thing comes up for Brown. He has to deal with, in a sense, with the Brown thought of Brown not being on the team. And then he becomes the center of discussion by being excluded from the two Serbia games, and really, and by the way, not playing that well when he did play by his standards, and the loss of the jump shot. We know his shot deteriorated as the season went on, and he did not make an outside shot in the playoffs and in the Olympics. And now my guess is he's addressing this, But so anyway, a long-winded answer to your question. He's 20. He's still a young man, but he's been through a lot, and his personal life is not normal, quote unquote, for people of his peers, because he is the very, very, very much hands-on father of a 6-year-old child. And he's not, let's face it, most marriages, the woman does all the work and the men, pay the bills. I mean, let's be honest, that happens. And more than it doesn't happen. And, they're attentive fathers, but they're not the central focus. Mom is. Well, not in his case. He's the central focus. We don't know anything about his domestic situation. That's been kept totally private as to how he arrived at where he is the custodian of that child. We know nothing about it. We don't deserve to know anything about it. All we know is we see it in public. He loves that child. That child loves him. The kid is a cute little, boy, smart, obviously. But it's a different personal life than 98% of his peers.
He's a terrific role model.
You don't come across.
He really is. He's a great role model.
So you don't come across this.
Right.
So he's carrying a lot. He's carrying a lot personally, and he's carrying a lot professionally. And it's all because he's so damn good. Because much is expected, because his range of skill, frankly, at 6'10" or whatever
Right.
it is as good as any Celtic has ever been. The range of skill, and I cite one. I'm going to continue to cite one technical thing that he improved on, and that really helped that team. He has become an excellent traffic rebounder, and that wasn't always the case. He got the rebounds he's supposed to get. Now he gets the rebounds that don't belong to him too, in a sense, and so his game is broadened significantly.
Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. They've got over 5 million active members. Look, it is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Now, unlike all the other apps, Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. That's it. Now, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks, because it's gone when September ends. Now, here's an example of a player projection lineup. You could be going Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards, or Dak Prescott for more than 263 passing yards. On the other end, Josh Allen for less than 240 passing yards, and CeeDee Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. You like those picks? So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Well, you're right about both players, with Jaylen Brown and with Tatum. They have carried themselves through dignity. They are in the toughest media market in the world, or one of the toughest media markets in the world. And the only criticism really about how they behaved publicly is maybe Jaylen drops an F-bomb too many times. I mean, that's it. And they've really, because Bob, we've been around. It's very hard for young players in the Boston market. They take a lot of heat. And when things aren't going well, sometimes players lose their composure. They did not.
No, he has far from done that. And so, but there's been a lot on his plate. And it's hard to believe he's still as young as he is.
Let's talk about the jump shot, because I remember John Havlicek talking about being in a slump once. And for some reason, this story sticks out in my mind, where he was in a shooting slump, jump shot wasn't falling, and how he got out of it is generally when Hondo shot the jumper, he looked at the rim. And he was at shoot around, and he noticed that he saw the ball disappear in the darkness of whatever arena they were in, and that he wasn't looking at the rim, that he was looking at the ball. This may sound familiar to you. And then he said, "Oh, I get it." Talk about, how do you come out of a slump, and what past great players have done it and how they did it?
Oh, well, I'm afraid I really can't answer that to the extent that that's an interesting premise of the story, Havlicek story. The theory that we all have is you get in the gym and you take 2,000 shots, X shots a day, and get yourself out of it. And we assume that he will, because, at one point earlier in his career, his three-point shooting was so good, he was actually leading the league in accuracy at various times during the year. That's how we call it, early on. And so it's been there. But the great players who take pride and understanding in their game just never stop working on it. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen with him.
I think
I'm not worried about this. I'm not.
Oh,
worried
no.
about it. But then again, if we go to an exhibition season and he shot 20%, oh boy, look out. But I just don't think that's going to happen.
I agree. Generally, the way to get out of the slump is to forget about it and focus on the other things, like you said, traffic, rebounding, assists, being a leader, so forth, and then the shot will come back. What is amazing is that without this shot, if you had said Jayson Tatum would struggle offensively or struggle from the perimeter, but the Celtics would still win the NBA title, you would have said no way.
You're right.
So I'm a glasses half full guy, Bob.
Well, it's a team thing, of course, but
Sure, we know. Yeah,
he contributes, and it's not he's not just a scorer. He's a very consummate all-around player and a top. We can fill in the blank. He's been first team in the league 3 times. Top 6, 5, 6, 7 player. They're very, very lucky to have him. And it's just unusual circumstance with whatever did happen in the Olympics. And I'm not sure I buy Steve Kerr's explanation about the player, the minutes and the math and all that.
Yeah, he freaked out. Kerr freaked out. Kerr didn't want to be the guy that lost it. I think that's what I think. I've had the chance to see the Patriots win the big game 5 times. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like being there live, right? And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. When you go to the Game Time app, look for the super deal. But you got to go to the app, you got to look for it. Check out the super deal. You won't regret it. With the Game Time app, curated deals make it easier to find the best price on great seats. Don't forget, look for the super deal. See views before you buy. You check out the view before you buy it. How's better? That's nothing better than that. It's like test driving the ticket. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole lot more. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And as I mentioned, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy it. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's go to Tiny Archibald, one of my favorite NBA players, period. And I remember him with the Kansas City Omaha Kings. I remember him leading the league in points and assists. And I think he is one of the most underrated Celtics of all time. He's 76 years old, turning a spry 76.
He turned 76 this week. And Tiny should never be forgotten for what he did. And in the 1972-73 season, he was the one and only guy in the history of the NBA to lead the league in scoring and assists.
I know.
And first myth to dispel about Tiny is how tiny he was. He was taller than you think. Right. I'm going to put this to rest. I'm 6'1". I look him in the eye, right in the eye. Yeah. But it's great to have people think he's 5'11". Hell, they can think whatever. But the point is, he's a little bit taller than you think. He's still a short guy.
Yeah, he's not Muggsy Bogues.
No, he's not Muggsy Bogues or Charlie Chris. No.
Well, what I remember about him though is it's the way he played.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, yes. We'll get to that. Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you a little. I remember that day, that year. The Celtics got off to a 10-0 start, 72-73. And they're going to be playing the Kansas City Omaha Kings. And Tiny's on this roll. And I know Tommy Heinsohn emphasized in practice, the whole emphasis one day leading up to the game was on stopping, making sure he doesn't go off, Well, he did. Anyway, the Celtics lost that game. But the guy actually beat him was Matt Gukas, jump shots in the corner. But Tiny, the point is, I remember he was such an object of fascination in the league that year, obviously, doing what he was doing. And we've never seen anything like it. I'll tell you a guy, though, there's a guy out there that has the possibility of threatening that someday. John Morant.
I knew you were going to say that.
If there's a guy out there that could lead the league in scoring and assists, in theory, folks, I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying it is not out of the realm of possibility that anybody could do it. It would be him. Now, Halliburton maybe is another one, but we'll get to that. But anyway, they were fascinating that year. His coach was Bob Cousy, by the way. Oh,
right.
Now, one of the interesting things is that originally, when they were still in Cincinnati, before they moved to Kansas City,
right, the Royals, right.
His backcourt mate was Norm Van Lier. And Cousy decided you couldn't have 2 small guards.
Right.
And he decided, and the guy he traded was Van Lier, who's another one of my all-time favorite players, but and had a nice career with Chicago. But they were a pair, but Cousy decided to trade him for Jim Fox. People don't remember Jim Fox. He was a journeyman big man, 6'10", had his moments, but nobody's special. It wasn't the greatest move by Cruz. He could have gotten more, as it turned out. But
what role because we know when Tiny went to the Celtics and was part of that 81
Yeah.
championship, his role changed dramatically.
Yes, dramatically. First of all, Tiny got hurt. He got, I believe he had an Achilles issue. And when he came to Boston, he wasn't the Tiny that we knew. He had to get healthy. And in those days, that injury, which was sometimes a career ender, sometimes. Guys, the Achilles tendon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he survived it, but he wasn't the Tiny, and he gained a little weight the first year he was here. And even on that body, 5 pounds is a lot, so he needed to get back as close in shape as possible, which he did prior to the 79-80 season. And he comes back. I mean, that team, everybody remembers Larry, it was the difference. Of course, Larry was the difference. But a lot of things happened in that team. They got ML Carr as a free agent.
Yes.
They got ML Carr. They worked a deal with Detroit. They
hoodwinked, stole, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And
bamboozled.
Signed Gerald Henderson. It was like an extra first-round draft pick they got. And Tiny got healthy. And by this time, Tiny was not trying to be the Tiny who lead the league. He knew he was a point guard, and his job was being run that team properly,
right,
and score as an afterthought. He was there to run the show, and he did. But he still had his element, a lot of quickness. The thing I thought that he did, and I always said, when he was coming up court in the break, he followed his blocking. You couldn't find him sometimes because he knew how to follow his blocking. I never used that phrase to describe any other guy coming up court in all my time covering the league, except one guy, Tiny Archibald, followed his blocking. And in a way that I can't describe it, you had to see it, but he did it. And so he had an excellent year, and he's one of the key components in 80-81 getting the ring, which they got.
And I remember, Bob, perhaps his greatest achievement was working with the homeless in New York, where he would run midnight basketball games, right?
Yeah, Tiny was very much a man of the community. Was and is. Yeah, he's very much a child of New York and loves New York and has been loyal to New York and has been a great citizen post-career. Yes. So he's a wonderful guy. He was a special player, and happy 76 to you, Tiny.
All right, put a wrap on that. Happy birthday, Tiny Archibald, Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay. Thank you for joining us on the Ryan Tanguay Podcast here on CLNS Media, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks.